Alrighty, you are looking live at sold out MetLife Stadium where today the 16-0 and playoff bound New York Giants are taking on the 0-16 Dallas Cowboys. And why are the Dallas Cowboys 0-16? Because they suck. Man, that cracks me up. Welcome to the Gridiron. Excuse me, sorry, I got to move the chair when my buddy Randy gets in here. Oh, he's scratching himself. Hold on a second. All right, well, he's scratching. Welcome to the Gridiron. Anybody out there at all that's going to spend a little bit of time with me here this evening, I greatly appreciate it. Thank you. If anybody's going to spend any time watching the replay of this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. It means the world to me. Thank you. I'm going to try to go about 30 minutes here tonight. Shoot my mouth off for about 30 minutes. Anybody got anything to say, please feel free. Fire away, throw in the chat box. Usually try to check on the chat box like every 5 or 10 minutes or so. So as soon as I see something in there, I try to respond to it as fast as I can. So please feel free, fire away. But plus also, instead of me just rambling on for half an hour, 45 minutes, or whatever it might want to be, it's just nice to talk to another Giant fan. So please feel free, fire away. Before we get started, if anybody wants to help support my channel out, it would mean the absolute world to me. In the description box below, the top link in the description box takes you to my membership page. I got 3 different membership levels. The first one's called the Saquon, second one's called the Lawrence Taylor, and the third one I got is called the Gridiron. Each one's got their own little perks to them. So if you want to help support my channel out, it would mean so much to me. And I thank you in advance. Thank you. If you are subscribed to my channel, once again, thank you. I could use all the support I can get, guys. But if not, please go down below, hit that subscribe button, hit that bell icon. That way, next time I go live or I put a video out, you'll be notified. And it's free of charge. What do you got to lose, right? But if you are subscribed to my channel, thank you. And then finally, also, a little ways down in the description box, there's 2 additional links. The top one's a Facebook link, which I'll go over in just a second. Then the other one, it's a Twitter link. Oh, got to move the chair. My buddy Randy, watch out, Randy. Oh, okay. Oh, Randy's here. Randy's here. We can begin. All right. It's a Twitter link. It's always been Twitter. It's Twitter today. It'll be Twitter tomorrow. 3 trillion years from now, it'll still be Twitter. Whatever letter of the alphabet Elon Musk wants to call it, that's on him. I'm not calling it that. It's Twitter. I put stuff in there. I try to put stuff in there every day, Giant related. So if you follow me on Twitter, I will follow you back. That's a promise. And then additionally, there's the link above the Twitter link. It's Facebook. Takes you to my Facebook group. It's called the New York Giants of Gridiron. We have 7,000 members in the group. It's doing simply marvelous, might I add. If I'm alive and breathing, if I have internet access, I got stuff going in the group every day. And, it's darn near 365. And not only do I put stuff in there, but members post stuff in there as well. So between me and the members, there's a ton of New York Giants information going in there every day. Please go to New York Giants of Gridiron. It's a group. Join it. You won't be dissatisfied. Well, all that stuff said and done, out of the way with. All right, here we go, baby. Here we go. All right, well, once again, this is the just every week, the Giants always seem to have. There's been a couple of times this year where it's been a little close, meaning the Giants would have like 800 guys on the injured list, and the other team would have maybe 700 something. Like every week, it is absolutely amazing how every week the New York Giants have more guys on the injury list and the guys out injured and all this than the other team. Absolutely amazing. It's unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable. And this, of course, this is no different here. This week, the Giants got 3 guys ruled out. So, but the odd thing is that Evan Neal's ruled out. But that the weird thing is, he said he's got a knee. Where did that come from? He had an ankle, came back, missed a couple games, whatever, came back, right? I thought he injured the other ankle. Or magically the pain went from the ankle to the knee. I don't know, but apparently according to the injury list, he's out. And now it's a knee. So you got me. Dable was talking, it was kind of like, seems like it might be like unfortunately, a week to week kind of thing. So obviously don't expect him, obviously, this week. Could be a couple weeks, a few weeks, who knows? We'll have to wait and see. But once again, it seems like the Giants will be in there, especially if we have Andrew Thomas and Tyree Phillips. This will be, obviously, once again, will be another new offensive line because the Thomas Phillips combo hasn't been out there yet, right? So, every week, I think the Giants have had a new starting offensive line. Absolutely amazing. It's just absolutely amazing how the Giants can't catch a break this season. Pardon the pun, especially we're talking about injuries. Absolutely amazing. It's like the football gods up there said anything that could possibly go. Let's see, what team can we pick on this year that's going to make it absolutely impossible for them to have any kind of success whatsoever? We'll pick on the Giants this year. Absolutely amazing. And meanwhile, all these other teams, the offensive line and the quarterbacks are all healthy, and it's just unbelievable. Absolutely unbelievable how the Giants can't catch a break this season. So the Giants got, of course, you got Adoree Jackson out. So you're going up against a rather high-powered offense, and of course now we don't have, well, however you want to look at it, our best cornerback, second best corner, however you want to look at it between him and Banks, but our most experienced cornerback, I guess, shall we say, right? Won't be on the field because he's got a concussion, and Deion Jackson, he's got a concussion. And then of course, then questionable. We got Corbin is questionable with a hamstring. I mean, my goodness. I mean, our running backs. Thankfully, we've lost some running backs, but thankfully Saquon's not one of them, and Breida. Thankfully. So our top two guys. But Paris Campbell with a hamstring. Now that, a lot of times with Paris Campbell, unfortunately, we can't seem, for whatever reason, we can't seem to get him in the lineup much. Obviously, you don't want nobody injured, but, he won't be, that much of a loss. We can also might get Sterling Shepard in the lineup a few more plays. Let's hope. We'll have to wait and see. This might be Shep's last season with the Giants. Especially if they can't find a spot for him this year, right? So we'll have to wait and see. See Corbin with the hamstring. Glowinski, it was personal. So he was questionable and not doubtful. So questionable. Usually, I forgot what the percentage is, but usually, when guys are listed as doubtful, it's like whatever, 75, 80% of the time they don't play. When the guys are listed as questionable, it's probably like 75, 80% of the time they do play. So Glowinski, not on an injury list, or he is on an injury, but it's not due to an injury. It's something personal. So hopefully at least Glowinski will be hopefully available to play. And I'll have to wind up waiting and see, is Bredesen and Pugh, are those are starting too? Or, nice to have, the way Glowinski's been playing after he got benched, that's not a bad guy to have, coming off the bench if you need him. It's not bad at all. Then we got and then of course Azeez with his ankle, he's questionable. So then once again, that puts you, on the plus side of it. He's got a decent shot of maybe playing this week. Now, of course, when you're talking to Azeez Ojulari, if you look at Vegas has a line for Azeez, right? Plus or minus, I think it's 120 or so that he actually doesn't make the whole game. So if you bet 100, you make 120 because the odds are pretty good. He ain't gonna make the whole game. He'll find something will get injured, another calf, the buttocks, maybe pull a hammy or something like that, whatever, crack an ankle or whatever. But I just checked the odds in Vegas, and the odds are not very good that he if he starts or if he plays, he won't make the whole game. He'll come up with another injury. So don't I got $100 on it, but I'm only going to make $20 with Azeez winds up getting it. So don't look for Azeez to come out of the game unscathed, as they say. It's just, once again, another one of those simply absolutely amazing, one of those mysteries. How some of these guys can just, some players can just, I mean, I've said this many times, like Dexter Lawrence can take on like 17 guys every time, every defensive snap. He's in there, 38 guys are blocking him. He's going and pushing guys back and tackling and knocking quarterbacks around and doing that snap after snap after snap. And, he's not even on the injury list, not once. Azeez, gets in there for one snap, boom, he's got a hamstring. Then he's out for like 3 months, and he comes back in there. He gets one pass rush, and he cracks his ankle, and he's out for another 8. It's absolutely amazing how some of these guys came and play a snap without getting it. Just, I mean, you really felt bad. It's just, it's the Giant fan, and you get unfortunately you get pissed off at these guys. But yeah, I mean, really felt horrible for these guys, because these guys go through all that crap, and then they rehabilitate themselves, or they get over their injuries, and they go back out on the field, and within like half an hour he's got another injury. So it's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. He did have, obviously, injury concerns coming out of college, and that's why he fell to where he fell. I mean, if he had no injury concerns, he would probably be I can't say, I don't know if he'd be a top 10 pick, but we do know that he'd probably be a first round pick. No, Joe, we think we got more points, more first downs, and more punts Sunday. I don't know. Let's on. First downs, I don't know. And that would mean sustained drives. I don't know. I don't know. I mean, that's a good one. That's a good one. Maybe you should look up on Vegas what Vegas might seem to think. What are the Giants going to get? I mean, well, it's going to lead me to my other point with Micah Parsons talking, about not overlooking opponents or anything like that. But see, 44-7. Well, if the first game was 40-0 with the starting quarterback in there, I don't know what I don't know if it's like 15 or 16. It was like 15 and a half. I don't know if it's gone up at all. I don't know, it doesn't really matter. But I mean, obviously, the Cowboys, I think, have won 11 in a row at home. They have done, but I mean, this season they pummeled the weaker opponents at home. They have taken care of business at home this season. I mean, can't say so much on the road. They should have beat the Eagles. The Cowboys beat themselves. The refs beat the Eagles. The refs beat the Cowboys as well, and not the Eagles. But they lost to the Cardinals, right? And then they got pummeled by the 49ers. But at home, the Cowboys have been taking care of business. That's for sure. So, I mean, and the Giants are coming in wounded ducks. I said, and if we look, I think the Cowboys got one guy. That's one guy on their injury list. I mean, it's unbelievable. I mean, I'm not sure if this is, because I mean, this is the Giants injury list. So I mean, all they got. On this one list here for the Cowboys, they got Turpin is questionable. I mean, it says Cowboys. Anybody who's out says not applicable. Anybody who's doubtful, not applicable. It's unbelievable. They played 10 games and everybody's just, except for Trevon Diggs. Apparently everybody else doesn't even have an ingrown toenail. Absolutely nothing. Nobody even has a cold. Nobody even sneezes over it. Absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, the Giants have 312 guys on injury reserve. We got another 3 guys out. It's absolutely amazing. It is unbelievable. And the Cowboys got one guy. This guy, he's got a boo-boo on his index finger. He's questionable. We'll put him as questionable. Yeah, it's unbelievable, absolutely unbelievable. But let's see here. We got good old Micah Parsons here, my man. That's an injury, of course. Yeah, we could have had him, but it is what it is. But I mean, Micah Parsons got some. He's got a good point here. Micah Parsons says, never play with your food. He's got some interesting ways of speaking. Says, that is something that most of us learned early in our lives. And Dallas Cowboys star Micah Parsons is reminding his team of that on Sunday. On paper, the game between the Cowboys and the Giants is the ultimate, 17-point favorite. Holy cow, Batman. Cowboys and the Giants is the ultimate mismatch. The Cowboys and NFL largest 17-point favorites. With quarterback Daniel Jones and Tyrod Taylor out and tight end Darren Waller as well. Evan Neal, of course, right? Offensive resembles a skeleton crew as Tommy DeVito, our third-string quarterback, undrafted third-string quarterback, is expected to start, and most predict a resounding Cowboys win. Yep. But Parsons has a message for his locker room, which is true. Yeah, it's true, right? Never overlook an opponent, Parsons said, which is very, very true. You never want to give a like a wounded dog or whatever. A team. You never want to give them life, right? I mean, if overlook. I'm just saying, like maybe a tip ball. Banks is there. It just happens to, if somewhere along the line the football gods look down at the Giants and just say, man, we them over big time this year. Let's throw them a couple bones in this one game or something. Just like a tip ball pops up in the air or one guy's there. Like what happened Pinnock against the against the Dolphins. Just happened to be right, get the ball, the tip ball, whatever it was, ran it back all the way, whatever, one of those, maybe a bad snap on a punt, and the Giants going to block it and pick it up and run it back for a touchdown or something. Breathe a little bit of life into the team, right? Give them some hope or something like that. That's, you don't want to be doing that. A couple plays here or there, and things could turn big time, right? Big time. So, Micah Parsons is, speaking the truth. Don't overlook anybody. We see where that got us this year. Like, I guess he's talking about maybe in particular the Cardinals. Right? We're staying grounded, coming off of a rough loss. Now, that's the one thing here, unfortunately, is that they're going to be pissed because once again they outplayed the Eagles. Should have beat the Eagles. I've seen some absolute horrible calls from the refs once again because NFL called the refs up and said, yo, we need the Eagles to get back in the Super Bowl again. Let's see what you guys can do. So the refs are making sure they're doing their best that they get the Eagles back into the Super Bowl this year, right? So the Cowboys were the better team. They were, but they weren't because they made some mistakes. But as far as I'm concerned, they outplayed the Eagles. They were inside the Eagles like 10-yard line like 800 times, came away with like very few points. So they should have beat the Eagles. But once again, the Cowboys will be pissed off next time they wind up playing the Eagles. But the Cowboys are pissed off right now. And they realize that if they want to have any shot at all getting the number one seed, any shot at all of winning this division, especially the Eagles are on a bye, the Cowboys don't want to get down to 4 losses, and the Eagles have 1. That ain't going to be good, right? So it's a huge game for the Cowboys. They're pissed off. They want to win, right? They got a couple tough games coming up as well, too. They lose here, they're going to maybe lose another 1 or 2 more games or so. They should still make the playoffs, but they don't want to make it that hard on themselves, right? They want to at least maybe host a playoff game or something like, So this is a big game for them, right? And they don't want to F around with this. So what Micah Parsons said here, right? We're coming off a rough loss. This game now has a lot more importance to it, and it's a divisional game. With the Cowboys coming off a better loss to the Eagles in a game of inches. Yep, Parsons and company. It just, forced 3 fumbles, all of which were recovered by the Eagles, of course. That's just, once again, it's like the Eagles' luck. When there's 800 fumbles on the field, somehow the Eagles recover every fumble. Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing. The chance for redemption against a wounded Giants team is one that is welcome, as is the chance to not repeat that. We see where that got us outing, Micah referring refers to an early season loss to a bad Cardinals team. Yep, and they got outplayed in that game too. At AT&T Stadium, where the Cowboys have won 11 straight games, many expect them to extend that to 12 straight. I do too. And Parsons knows that what the home crowd can do for his team as they look to bounce back from last week's loss to the Eagles. Now, what would you say? Paul Dottino. And he's right. He was referring to as like front runners, or whatever, the crowd. When things are going great, the crowd is like, woo, Cowboys, woo. Oh, yeah, look at me. I got a Cowboy shirt. Well, it's not a Cowboy. It's a Giant. I forgot what season this was here. Hold on. Week 1. Hold on. My son went to this game. 2017. So it was week 1. So my son went to he saw that because he's a Cowboy fan. I'm a Giant fan. So he went to the game. So he brought me home this shirt. But Paul Dottino was talking about, the Cowboys fans are kind of like front runners or whatever you want to call it. When things are going great, whee, But if things aren't, going to plan or nothing like that, the Cowboy fans aren't quite as vocal, So, but I think they'll be pretty fired up this because Giants are just walking. They're like wounded antelopes, right? And they're walking into a den of lions, right? And they're wounded. They're all limping. They can't run or not like that. The lions are just they're just foaming at the mouth. They're just getting ready to feast on some meat, right? It starts with having the best fans in the world. Cowboys Nation shows up every time. Well, the Cowboy fans are everywhere. Everywhere. Even people that don't even know where Dallas is at. They're got Cowboy fans. Yeah. Let's see, Parsons said, then 2, just learning from your mistakes, determined and hungry to get back after it, getting our hands back on another team to redeem ourselves. But with the linebacker hungry and ready to eat, when the chance comes to feast on Sunday, don't expect him to play with his prey. He's going for the kill. Well, that's quite true. Yeah, right? You don't want to play around. It's just it's tough to see much of anything coming out of here. I'm very excited to see what DeVito can do. Once again, we have the 9th or 10th different starting offensive line for the Giants this season. He's a third string quarterback. At least we got Saquon there, but interesting to see what he can do. He can't hold on to the ball. You got to go, whatever. It's got to be like a dance. 3 steps, 5 steps. You got 1,001, 1,002. Just throw out of the stadium. 13th row. Try to throw it through the goalposts. Whatever. Don't stand there looking. Nope. Okay. Unless you have 47 guys in there to pass protect and you got one guy out on a route or whatever. Other than that, you got to have that clock in your head. 1,001, 1,002, throw the frickin' ball. 1,001, 1,002, throw the frickin', don't hold on to it. It's going to be rather difficult to do, but for the most part, every drive needs to end in a kick. Punt, extra point, or field goal try. So don't give them anything, any, because I think they have like 4 defensive touchdowns this year. And then we have Trevon Diggs. Imagine if he was imagine if he was healthy. Imagine how many they might have if he was on the field. So, they like to feast off of your mistakes. So, Tommy DeVito's has his work cut out for him. That's for sure this week. But then there's also this too. Now, this is pretty interesting. This is kind of interesting. It said reason. You need reasons to watch for the rest of the season. Here's a huge one. Right? The progress of young players who will be part of the team's future is a critical part in the final 8 games. And I mentioned this too. It's really hard at all to get any type of excitement whatsoever about this because basically it's like you just turn on the TV and you look for 2 things. It just how are we going to lose this game and how many guys are going to get injured and go on injured reserve and we'll never see it. That's the only two things, basically. You turn it, all right, who's going to get injured this week? Plus or minus 5 guys. How many guys? Because, no, it doesn't seem like anybody in the other teams ever get injured. How many guys the Giants are going to get dragged off the field with concussions and out for the season? And how many Giants, and how are we going to wind up losing this game? That's basically, right? So, I mentioned, is that, especially like going forward, looking for the future. Look for, if you can, look for the bright spot. Like Micah McFadden. He's really, we got the 2 inside linebackers between Akarake and McFadden. They're staying healthy, thank goodness, right? And they're really doing a very good job. Of course, Sexy Dexy, Dante Banks, maybe Pinnock, on the offensive line, John Michael Schmitz, how's he doing? Hey, DeVito, as I said, maybe he won't be the next Patrick Mahomes. He may not be our starting quarterback for the future, but hey, can he be our backup for the future? Right? Can we find Hyatt on a deep route? Right? Can Bellinger maybe start coming on, maybe a little bit, just look for some positive things, But this is quite interesting here. Very interesting, right? There will be no playoffs for the Giants this season. There might not be another victory this season either. But Delusion fans expecting better after a playoff victory a season ago already care more about the 2024 NFL Draft than the results of the next 8 games. These games, though, are important for the future of the franchise. The biggest reason, just how insanely young the Giants are. Okay, now if you also take into account, all right, that how young they are. But if you take Graham Gano and Tyrod Taylor out, we might be the youngest team in the NFL. Because Gano is 36 and Tyrod is 34. So between those two guys, they're 70 years old. Those two guys, they average 35, right? We got rid of Leonard Williams. He was 29. Yeah. But as I said, then you got Tyrod Taylor, who may not be here next season, and Graham Gano, I believe should be back next season after surgery and everything like that. But you take those two guys. I said the Giants might be the youngest team in the NFL, right? So we got a bunch of young guys, a lot of guys we drafted. As I said, let's not forget the last 2 draft class. I think almost all of the last two draft classes are on the team, except for I think maybe one guy, right? So so we're building through the draft. We have another at least 7 picks this season. So between this season, 2024, 2023, and right, we have over 20. We're gonna have over 20 guys on the team. From this regime's draft class, right? And going forward, a bunch of young guys, right? And we might even get young. If we let go of a few guys like Tyrod Taylor, Adoree Jackson. Let's see here. We got rid of Leonard Williams. So we let go of a couple of guys who might be a little on the older side, and you bring in a bunch of young guys who are 22. We might even get younger, if that's possible. But let's see here. This is from Big Blue View. So who is this here? I want to give them credit. It says I posted the following snap. Wait, let's see. Who is this here? Ed Valentine. I posted the following snap weighted age rankings graphic and talked about this topic a bit, but it deserves more attention. Snap weighted age rankings. Some of these is just sometimes they just have sometimes it's just some of these stats they come up with are just sometimes a bit over the edge. But anyway, let's see. It says snap weighted age rankings for 2023, weeks 1 through 9. The youngest is the Packers, who's 25.8 years old. The Giants are number 2 in the NFL, 25.9. Right? Now, as I said, if you take, it says snap weighted. So I'm thinking maybe if you take Leonard Williams, snaps out of there and maybe snaps Tyrod Taylor, and maybe the Giants will be even younger. I'm not sure. The Bears are 3rd at 26. It says the oldest, the Saints are 28.1, which is not very old at all, but it is what it is. But I mean, the Giants are very young. It says by snaps played, only the Green Bay Packers have played a younger roster this season than the Giants. That at least partially explains the team's 2-7 record. But as I was also saying, is that we're putting Tyrod Taylor out there. The reason why we put Tyrod Taylor out there is because Daniel Jones was injured. Right? This also explains why these next 8 games are important for the Giants and what you should pay attention to if you're looking for a reason to remain invested. These young players brought in by GM Joe Schoen over the past couple of years are the team's future. And as I said, then we have another 7 picks coming up in this draft. Unless we couple picks to move up, maybe to grab a quarterback or something. But we have another 7 young guys coming in this draft coming up here. So between these last 3 draft classes, we're going to have like over 20 guys on the roster from these 3 draft classes, which could be a nice young nucleus for our future. What those players are today is hopefully not what they will be in a year or 2 from now. So, for a lot. They say you got to give these draft picks like 3 years. The 3rd year rolls around, then that's when you start looking at him, and it's like, what's this guy going to be like? Well, a lot of times they say by the 3rd year, that's a good indication of what his capabilities are. Okay. So with these guys, the Shane's draft class, we're not going to know. We won't know for the 2022 draft class until like next season when 2024 rolls around. So we're going to have a lot of young guys with hopefully some bright futures for the Giants. Let's see here. Every snap played, every practice rep taken is an opportunity for them to get better. Their development is a big part of what the remainder of the season has to be about. Absolutely. Just going forward, that's all. Can Micah McFadden continue his rise? Can first-round pick Tay Banks play through some of his recent struggles and make strides toward becoming the cornerback the Giants think he can be? Can Jalen Hyatt and Wan'Dale Robinson strides toward becoming the playmaking wide receivers? I mean, I said, let's not forget about it, right? We got Wan'Dale in the slot. You got maybe Jalen Hyatt. They brought Slayton, right? We got some young guys, some speed. Can we get a dog? Can we get the ABCD Lamb? Can we get the Brown that the Eagles had? Right? What are the Eagles? They got great lines, but they also got a dog. They got a wide receiver. You could just, who can take over a game, right? That's what they got also. Giants don't have that. Giants don't have the offensive line that they got. They don't have the dog. Let's see here. Can John Michael Schmitz solidify his place as the team's long-term starting center? Can Trey Hawkins show that his summer splash wasn't just a mirage? And at least if Trey Hawkins isn't the starting cornerback for the Giants going into the future, can he be some good, decent quality rep? Can he give the team some good quality reps, right? Or be a good backup? Right? I mean, he was a late-round pick. Hey, if he can be a good backup at cornerback and being a late-round pick, sign me up for it. There are just a few of the young players to watch. Kayvon Thibodeau, Azeez Ojulari. I'd have a hard time believing that they could actually re-sign Azeez Ojulari. The guy can't stay on the field. Then they got Evan Neal here. He's a big question mark. You don't know if that guy can even stay healthy. Get Dane Belton, Cordell Flott, Daniel Bellinger, Tommy DeVito, maybe even Marcus McKeithen, Jordan Riley, and others. Zudu. I mean, there's a got a lot of young guys. Andrew Thomas, the Giants' starting left tackle, understands the importance of these games to the youngest Giants. If I recall, I don't remember exactly what our record was, but I know having your starting quarterback out is never ideal. It was a similar situation, like we had some injuries on the offensive line, some moving parts, and that was around when I started to turn around as a player, Thomas said. I feel like, especially for our young guys, every snap you get is an opportunity to get better. So we can use this as a time to get better, hone in on our crafts, and put the best product on the field. So, it's tough, obviously, in a lost season, but I mean, if you look here, it says snap weighted age rankings. Let's see, the Giants on defense, they're 25 and a half years old. They're number one. I think they might be tied for one or something, whatever. But then the Giants snap weighted age rankings on defense. And you figure if we get rid of Adoree Jackson, we got rid of Leonard Williams. Let's see, and would be maybe even a little bit younger, especially if we add some guys in the draft. They're 25 and a half years old on the defense. I mean, young. We're the youngest defense snap weighted age rankings. But according to that, they're the youngest defense in the NFL, 25 and a half years old. Wide receivers, at 24.9 years young. Let's see, defensive backs, we have the youngest defensive backs in the league at 24.3 years of age. Linebackers were number 2. Let's see here. Offensive line, we're the 5th youngest. Wide receivers, we're the 4th youngest. Defense overall, 1st youngest. Offense, it looks like the 8th youngest. And total, we're the 2nd youngest team in the NFL. 2nd youngest team in the NFL. And as I said, some of with the weighted age range is because some of it was Tyrod Taylor. And why? Well, because injuries, right? Then you got, I said, Leonard Williams. I said Tyrod may not be back next season. Leonard Williams won't be back next season. Adoree Jackson won't be back next season. Probably won't be back next season. I mean, so we're getting rid of some, and we're going to be bringing in some younger guys. I mean, obviously in a lost season like this is, and it's a lost season, it's really hard to watch a game and get excited and this, that. No, I get it. It's very difficult. You know what I mean? And who wants to sit there? Oh, hey, we're down 37-13. Yeah, cool. Yeah, let me keep watching this. This is a lot of fun. Wow, we only have 7 more games left this season. Well, we're only going to get blown out 7 more times. Wow, man, I can hardly wait. So it's very difficult to stay, excited, and all that, But if you want to look toward the future, it's tough to say it's bright and sunshine and rosy and all, but we have a lot of young guys on this team, right? That this regime thinks highly of going into the future. And I said a lot of it is, there's not many guys that can just come in, you draft them first round, whatever, and you plug them in there and they're like Hall of Fame material right off the bat. A lot of them, have to come in, and they say a lot for the most part is, like 3 years. When the 3rd year rolls around, that's a good indication of what they're going to be. So, I mean, with Shane and Dable's guys that they drafted, we only got 1st year guys and 2nd year guys. I got the guys from the 2022 class. So next season, a lot of those guys, will give a good indication of what they're going to be going forward, right? So, I mean, we got a lot of young guys. I said we have 7 draft picks coming up in the 2024 draft. As I said, unless, we wind up, coupling some picks, the 1st and the 2nd. And maybe the 1st, maybe or whatever it is for the 2020. I'm just saying, maybe to move up if we're going to draft a quarterback, unless we're picking number 1 or 2 or something like that. We're picking number 2. You don't have to couple up many picks to move up too much. But anyway, try to find the goodness in it. I mean, there are some feel good stories in there. It's kind of tough to pull out the good feel good stories when you're losing 37-13, or whatever we're going to probably lose this weekend. But and finally, Tom Coughlin, I don't know. Sometimes it's kind of head scratching. He's finally going into, I guess, what they call the Ring of Honor for the Jaguars, and it's about time. I mean, it's about time. I'm not really sure why it took him so long for him to get in there. I mean, was it 95 was their first season, 95, 96? First season, whatever it was, 95, right? So we're talking like 28 years or so. I mean, for him, their first head coach, took them to 2 championship games, and just took them almost 30 years and the guys won a couple Super Bowls and with the Giants. I mean, to acknowledge the guy, Tom Coughlin has been selected as the 7th member of the Pride of the Jaguars based on the team's Ring of Honor. So the 7th member. So, but it just kind of took a while. I honestly would have thought he would have been in. Jaguars announced on Thursday that Coughlin will be inducted into their team's Pride of the Jaguars, their in-house Hall of Fame next season. Coughlin's success goes far beyond the job he's done with the Giants. It all started when he took the expansion of Jacksonville to heights no one ever imagined. Exactly. Well, it didn't start there. Obviously, he was our wide receiver coach in 1990, so he's got himself a Super Bowl ring for the Giants. But, and then he went to Boston College, and he had some really phenomenal success there. Some of it, I hated the freaking guy when he in 1991 when he knocked off Notre Dame. Notre Dame was number 1 in the country. What was Boston? It says right here what Boston College was. Let's see here. Oh, maybe it didn't. So the 1991 squad opened with 2 losses. Then they captured the next 8 games, including a 41-39 win over number 1 ranked Notre Dame in Notre Dame. Knocked Notre Dame out of number 1 and basically killed their chances of winning another national championship. So they kicked the last second field goal. Notre Dame was up 39-38. They overlooked Boston College, and they wound up losing. But, he had some very good success with Boston College, and that's what helped land with Boston College, right? Knocked off Notre Dame, we won some bowl games, and that's obviously one of the huge reasons why he wound up getting a Jacksonville job. So let's see. So in Jacksonville's maiden season, the franchise went 4-12 and looked like a struggling expansion club. But in only its second season, the Jags compiled a 9-7 record and finished 2nd in the AFC Central Division. So they went from 4-12 to 9-7. They went from 4-12, basically a doormat, to a winning record and in 2nd place in the AFC Central Division. Then they defeated the Buffalo Bills 30-27 on the road in the wild card playoff game, and then beat Denver 30-27 with John Elway. Right? So they went on the road and they beat the Broncos before losing to the Patriots, oddly enough, 20-6 in the AFC Championship. Once again, oddly enough, Tom Coughlin lost to Bill Parcells in the championship game. The next 3 seasons, the Jaguars would compete in the playoffs, going 11-5, 11-5, and 14-2 in 1999. So going 14-2. They would again lose 1 game short of a Super Bowl appearance by coming up short 33-14 against Tennessee in 1999. They were 14-2 and they lost 33-14 against the Titans in that Super Bowl where they wound up losing 23-16, I think it was, to the greatest show on turf, the Rams, in 1999. Suddenly, Coughlin had been employed as the head coach of Jacksonville for just 5 years, and he's gotten his teams into the playoffs 4 times. They were 9-7, 11-5, 11-5, and 14-2. That's an expansion team. What a phenomenal job he did coaching them. And 4 times, and with 2 AFC Championship game losses. So an expansion team in 5 seasons, he took them to 2 AFC Championship games. His Jaguars had won 49 regular season games during that stretch, an unheard of feat for any expansion club in any sport. Then after 3 non-playoff years, Coughlin was fired. Years later, owner Weaver said publicly that his greatest regret was letting Tom Coughlin go. You're absolutely right, it was, buddy. But then the Giants come calling, right? The Giants had some really good years under head coach Jim Fassel. They had 3 good years, 97, 2000, and 2002. But in 2003, they finished 4-12-0, and Fassel run also had finished. But I believe they had a lot of injuries that year as well, too. A lot of injuries. GM Ernie Accorsi's call to replace Fassel was Tom Coughlin. The theory is that Giants co-owner Wellington Mara also all but insisted that, of course, he hire Coughlin, with John Mara, the team's executive vice president, echoing that sentiment, which is untrue. Coughlin was, of course, his decision, and so sought out of the franchise's former assistant coach. Of course, he told the New York Post this. It's not true. It's so bogus. It's absolutely not true. Coughlin absolutely was my first choice. They think I'd be afraid of a strong coach. Why do I care about that? There were other coaches considered. However, Nick Saban, could you imagine Nick Saban, huh? Charlie Weiss, oh my God. Well, I mean, with the Patriots, he didn't do very good with Notre Dame. Lovie Smith and Romeo Crennel were all discussed. Oh, and former Bills head coach Marv Levy did call and inquire about the position, but of course he wanted Coughlin from the get-go. Coughlin was hired and kept two of Fossil's assistant coaches, tight end coach Mike Pope and assistant special teams ace Mike Prefer. He could also bring over two coaches of his Jag staff and running back coach Gerald Ingram and strength and conditioning coach Jerry Palmieri. Palmieri, I believe that's how you say it. Yeah. So I mean, obviously Coughlin came in 2004. It's the first season. They finished with 6-10. That was Eli's first season, but then went into 4 straight playoffs. 4. The only time in Giants history from 1925 this is the 99th season in the Giants history, from 1925 to 2023, 99 seasons. Next season, 2024, will be the 100th season in the history of the New York Football Giants. The Giants have never, except for this one time, gone to the playoffs 4 straight seasons. They went out 3 times in a row, but never went 4. Even Bill Parcells. Bill Parcells was 84, 85, and 86, and 89 and 90. Right? So we never won 4 years in a row, but we did with Tom Coughlin, 2005, 6, 7, and 8. 4 years in a row. So I mean, it's about time, I mean, at least he's got his, he's getting his due, which is good. But I mean, what he did with, things are a little bit different. I mean, it's, when the Dallas Cowboys were like an expansion team in 1960, things were a little bit different. You didn't necessarily have maybe the best group of guys to build with and stuff like that and all. But so things are a little bit different now, when you're an expansion team, you have at least some chance, you get some somewhat decent players that you can get in there. Right. But but regardless of that, I mean, in the second season, that 9-7, they went from 4-12 to 9-7 in the second season with the Jaguars, and he took them to a championship game. And not only that, but 3 years later, they were 14-2. I mean, 11-5, 11-5, and 14-2. I mean, what he did 4 years in a row, he took the Jaguars to the playoffs as an expansion team. Whew, that's absolutely phenomenal. Absolutely phenomenal. But I mean, it's just kind of weird that it took him all these years to, let's put him up, at least the guy's still alive. I mean, I think that for Coughlin to go into the Jacksonville Jaguars Ring of Honor, I think is well overdue, and it's well deserved. He's certainly well deserved. So, Tom Coughlin, congratulations, brother. You certainly deserve it. Well, guys, it's been 48, almost 49 minutes. Who are you? Joe, thank you, buddy. Thanks for the comments. Greatly appreciate it. So whoever spent any time watching me live, thank you. If anybody spends any time watching a replay this, once again, thank you so much from the bottom of my heart. Thank you. As always, you guys stay safe out there and go